The rapidly changing Arctic landscape is facilitating the exploitation of energy resources and opening up new transport lanes to and from the region. While this will undoubtedly benefit both the local and global economy, it could also have repercussions on the already fragile Arctic environment if not managed carefully. Are governments, industry, and the area's indigenous population ready to meet the unique challenges of drawing significant energy sources from this region?
From a government point of view, economic development in the Arctic is important because we have populations in the Arctic who sort of need a positive outlook. They need jobs, you need tax income.
This is, sorry to say, the future of the Arctic, and especially now when the climate is changing, making these resources that earlier was protected by the harsh climate, now it is an open field.
If you look at the supply case of the Arctic, popular belief is that there might be something like 400 billion barrels of oil equivalent, 10 years of the current demand for oil and gas.
On oil we are talking about 25% of the potential recoverable oil on the planet. That means that the impact is huge, but for us the impact is mostly about the climate change. What is sure today is that if we are going to drill for oil in the north, in the Arctic Sea, some oil spill will occur, that's for sure. Because the risk, the condition, the weather condition are so different.
One problem is also that, at least in our area, there is very little discussions with indigenous communities about extractive industries. Most of the areas we don't want to have them because this interferes on the traditional reindeer herding, for instance. So this is actually a threat against this traditional economy.
If we are going to burn the extra oil which is present in the Arctic, we are going to miss totally on climate change issues. So now we have to stop to look for other oil reserve, and we have to start developing other energy solutions.
First you have to look at the risks and look if you can manage those risks, and you can manage them to the lowest possible risk factor. If you can manage that one, then look at what it costs. Then you look at the benefits, and then you look if you have an economic case.
I think the Deepwater Horizon disaster sort of made in itself a huge impact, but also for the rest of the world, how you see risk, how you see safety culture.
At all costs, oil spills need to be prevented. Yeah, so we invest a lot of money in the prevention for oil spills. Nonetheless, there is indeed this very small chance of an oil spill happening. So then you need to have systems in place that can intercept it and that can contain it. And on top of that, if even that doesn't work, your last barrier is indeed cleaning it up.
So of course you need specific rules in the Arctic, sort of special for things like icing, which is not a big problem in other places, and safety regulations for cold and freezing areas.
There's a lot of scenario for every country in the world to go for renewables and energy efficiency on the large scale. So the Arctic oil and the Arctic energy is absolutely not part of our energy future.
The big key there is the global climate negotiation, and we need an answer there that we then can apply in all different languages. Unfortunately, we have not reached that language yet.
In the oil industry, we need to work with our peers and other oil and gas companies and the contractor community to come to the best possible standards and solutions.
The big question is, how do you sort of get the balance right, because we can't develop the Arctic for the Arctic populations if we don't have private business deeply involved with it. In the same times you will have the risks of the different activities, and they will create the benefits. So it's important for us to work with sustainable development issues. We sort of started work on corporate social responsibility in the Arctic, because the Arctic is special in the sense that it is a sensitive environment and also sensitive communities. So we need to get that balance right.
It's clear that the Arctic is an area of growing strategic importance and an example of successful international cooperation. But is the exploitation of this region's resources really vital for our energy security? And are the risks involved manageable? Have your say at commentvisions.com, on LinkedIn and via Twitter.